Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. So I'm coming back with this magazine 78 free kit, Santa's on his way, and I've got the Holly Jolly Christmas. Again, this is another Matastic kit, which is beautiful. You've got your printed sheet with the Santa couple there, and then you've got this beautiful foiled piece with the sort of holly and the decorative holly on it. So today I'm going to make two quite simple cards, but I am going to do some things with the cardstock because, well, I'll show you as I go on. But I've started by just grabbing a piece of 6x12 cardstock and just folding that in half, so I've got a 6x6 piece of card. And because the foiling is gold, I'm going to need two pieces of gold mirri card. These are the mirri mats, just to save me cutting off any waste, big pieces that sort of lay around for ages. And I'm just going to take 2 notches off each side, and that should go all the way to the top. That should just give me a fine white border all the way around, which is what I like on my cards. So the piece of cardstock I'm going to be using is this one. Now I like this cardstock, it's beautiful, but I want to change the layout of it. So what I'm going to do, and usually for me, I'm going to cut this at 6 inches. So that's our piece for our other card. And I'm going to cut it to 5 3/4 that way, because that is not going to change. And then I'm going to kind of Frankenstein this up a little bit, really. So I'm going to start by cutting 2 inches, and I think this will be just under 2 inches. Actually, might leave that green border on there. I don't think it's really going to make a difference because we are going to be laying on top of this. And then this piece here is, let's have a look, so that is 2.2, so 2 inches and 2 notches. So I'm going to grab that second piece of gold mirri card, and I'm going to make a mat which is an extra 2 notches, so it's going to be 2 1/4 by 5 3/4. And this is going to be the mat for our piece here. Oh, I've forgotten what I need to cut that to 5 3/4. Oh, have I cut that too short? No, because I'm having that same size. There, I'm talking myself out of it. Ignore me. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm having this bar going all the way across. So if you want it so that there is a little gold border top and bottom, what you can do is just make that a little smaller. But what I would say is, let's just show you, let's move it out of the way a minute because I do need that again in a second. So this is our base layer. We're going to have our holly at the top, we're going to have our holly at the bottom, and we're going to have this piece going across. So at the moment, as it stands, we've got that fine gold border going all the way around. Obviously we will have when I've got it stuck down. If you're going to do it bigger, then I would say keep that at 5 3/4 and do that at 2 notches under the 6. So that is the same size as this. But I'm just going to let that work in my favour, this gold border behind, and then we'll just mat it straight on across. Now I am going to be using this circle one, I think, because it's quite nice and big. It's going to fill that quite nicely. But I also do want this border here. Let's pop that out from there, because it's, as it stands at the moment, we've just got that little bit of gold trim on there, and I want to make that a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to add this piece on. So let's just straighten that end up. Again, my blade is starting to need to be cut, changed again. So, and then I'm going to take that to the 5 3/4. That piece is going to go on there. I've also got a spare piece of red ribbon that I'm going to add in as well, I think. And I think that's it. I think that's it for the cutting. So you can see what I mean when I say it's a bit of a Frankenstein card, because we are sort of chopping and changing and moving things around. Okay, so the glues I'm using, same ones I always use. I've got the Kalau all-purpose glue in there, in the clear one, and the Kalau tacky glue in this one. Those are the glues that just work well for me. If you've got a glue that you're using that works for you, then you know, obviously just use, you do you, basically. You know what works for you. I just found where I am in the world, this little combination works well for me. So I'm going to start by popping these on, and I'm using the 2 glues. Basically the all-purpose glue is the best glue, because it does dry really strong. It gives my paper a bit of, or my card, a bit of stability, because it does, I don't know how to explain it. It dries it solid, and it sort of, it's a bit then like a thickened piece of card. So it really does give it that sort of extra stability. But the only problem with it is because of, apologies, delivery not for me, sadly. Yeah, so this glue, the all-purpose glue, it can take the finish off some cardstock. So like the Miri card, anything that's got a specialised coating, because of the alcohol content in it, it can take the coatings off. So I don't like to go too close to the edge. And the other benefit I get by using the 2 glues is that the tacky glue dries faster than the all-purpose glue, so it means I can confidently move on to the next part of my project without having to worry about that moving, because that glue isn't dry yet. Okay, so let me just see, because I might want to just take a little, right, let me just grab that guillotine. There you are. I'm just going to take just tiniest bit off the end, just it's just slightly longer than that gold piece, and I want it to match up, you know, perfectly if I can. Yeah, that's better. You can see it's just like fly's eyelash, really. Okay, so now we can start to assemble. And again, just those 2 glues on there, moving that into position. I can put that down, so I want that nicely even. I think for this piece what I'm going to do is just use my tacky glue, and I'm going to have the holly at the top because it looks like it's sort of coming down. And then this has some holly boughs on it, sort of with ribbon, top of a wreath sort of look. So I'm going to put that one at the bottom, but it's again facing down. And then if I grab my scissors, buried again, I'm using super sticky on my ribbon. I just find it works for me. So I'm going to pop that over, and I might just trim that little bit off there of that border. Oops. And then what I'm going to do is just pop that on something so it doesn't stick to my desk. I think I'm going to come down just above that border. a little bit of PVA tacky glue underneath, just to make sure that doesn't fray. Just trim the edge of that border off, and we can pop this onto our card. And don't be afraid to chop into your card. If you know, if you think, oh, that would be perfect if that was in such and such a place, then you know, just do it. Just change it. Make, you know, make the card that you want to make. That's going across there, like so. Okay, so that's our background done. I don't know, and don't forget also as well, if you wanted to come across this with you know, if there's a stamp that you like a text stamp maybe, with white ink across there, you know, hundreds of different ways that you can change that up. I'll just pop that one off. I think I'm probably going to use all of them, but I'm going to that would look better if I had a circle of red behind it, but I'm not going to use my dies and cut. I'm going to leave it as it is. So let's see, let's go high with this one. So we've got these Hunkydory 2mm ones. It's going to be a little bit thick, so I'm going to cut them in half, just because when I start to go around the corners it's going to start to show. So just go in all the way around, and I'll cut another piece in a minute. Don't pull it too tight or you'll find that your card starts to sort of warp. You can see it starts to pull it, and you will get a certain amount of this, but obviously if you're careful you won't get too much. I can see I've got a couple of pips as well that I need to just, oops, move over, that's it. And then I'll just take a little piece of that one that I've already cut, put that round. Okay, let's just check. Just get a nail file on these ones in the centre. It's just hard to get your scissors in there. Okay, let's move you guys out of the way a second. Go all the way around. So there's nothing more satisfying than have the whole thing come off in one go. It doesn't happen very often though. Right, and I am gonna not be brave. Put some tacky glue on the back just to make sure I've got a little bit of wiggle room time. Now, has this got a right or a wrong way? No, it hasn't. So I'm just going to pop that fairly centrally on my piece. And then I think this one I'm going to go flat with. Again, it's got a couple of those little pips on, but I'll just smooth those over with my nail. Sometimes you can, sometimes it's a bit difficult. Now it is going over those other two pieces of card, but once the topper's on, you're not really going to notice that. This is basically just to hide out those pieces that we've done before. And what you could do, if you didn't want this weight in the middle, you could just do it up to where just before you're doing the ribbon, and then just cut two pieces, maybe an inch, and then just put the ribbon around those two pieces excuse me, those two pieces, and then just pop them on the end rather than having the whole thing going across your card, because nobody's going to see what's in the middle. Nobody's going to know that piece of cardstock is missing. So these are those sticks to 1mm pads. Put a nice amount on there so that they do support this quite nicely. Oh, and the other thing I just want to say while I'm doing this, because everyone's seen foam backs be pulled off before, just really well done to Evelyn. He took one of my templates, one of that difficult one, the other day, and she managed to recreate the template on her Cricut. So I can appreciate there's probably been quite a lot of work. So, and Evelyn, your card was amazing. I mean, honestly, I hope you're really proud of it, because I was like, oh, that is gorgeous. Yeah, it amazes me what you guys do when you take on the templates and things, and it's so lovely to see it be worked in like the same thing but in a different way. Honestly, it gives me such a lot of pleasure. It really does. Okay, so I need some gems. Now I think probably what I'm going to do with this one is go with gold, because I think that's going to stand out best among, you know, with this. What you could also do is go in with your glitters. Yeah, I'll do these gold ones first of all, and then I've got an idea that I want to do as well. So let's just go 1, 2. I'm just going to pop 2 in that corner, and then I'm just going to do one bigger one at the bottom. So it's just going to draw your eye around the card. Now what I also got, I got my delivery from Hunkydory today, and what I also got was some of these diamond stickles. Now where can I put these? Let's see, I'm going to go, I think, just a little dot on all of these little holly berries, I think they are. So this will dry. It's going to give a little bit of a raised look, but it will make these red and glittery. So by the time you see the photo, so I will have to leave this to dry. And if you wanted to, you could do the background paper instead, the background cardstock instead. Nearly there. If you didn't want to do this, you could go around with a little bit of put your gems on here, red gems. You've seen me do that before. Okay, so that was that diamond stickles. It's like a clear clear glitter. Let me just give that a little flex because it is folding in and I don't want it to dry that way. But that is that finished card. Like I say, those will be glittery, so by the time you see the photo you will see those sparkling, hopefully, fingers crossed. But that is card number 1, so I'm just going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, so back with the second card. So I've got another piece of 6x6, which I've, well, 12x6 rather, and I've folded that into a 6x6 card. Just a little behind the scenes. I did have some issues with the filming of my second card, the original one, because I did make this one. So this is technically my third card, but you'll see it as my second. So I just wanted to be honest with you, that's all. Okay, so we've got this 6x6. When I was looking at what was left over, obviously, let me just bring it out. What I had left over was these 2 pieces of backing card. Obviously, I've got the papers and things. So with this card here, all I'm going to do is cut round them, pop them on, probably a ribbon, sentiment. That will be job done with that one. I thought it might be a bit too easy for you guys. So I turned to the papers, and I think I'm going to use our Santa here. I think he's going to come in with a nice bit of red, although we could go with one with the tree, maybe even one with the presents, but I'm going to use something from there anyway. So let's pop that to the side, and I'm going to start with a piece of gold mirror card. There we go, and I'm going to need my trimmer, and exactly the same as the card you've just seen, we're going to take 2 notches off each side. So I'm still keeping these relatively easy, although I am using slightly different bits of the kit. So that is going to fit onto there quite nicely, and then this piece here, I'm going to take that to 5 3/4. I think that's about there on that side, and then 5 3/4 on that side there. Let's see how that sits on there. And that sits on there quite nicely. Okay, so let's make a decision. So what I thought I would do is I brought in 2 of these frames from previous kits where I've not used all of the frames. So I've got this one which is kind of like a scalloped square, and then I've got this one with the sort of hoops at the top. And I was thinking, because I'm actually thinking maybe I might go for him now, but then I don't know if that pale will clash. No, I'm going to stick with what I said. I'm going to go with Santa. So what I'm going to do is just use my trimmer to cut that out first of all. So let's go that way around. And hopefully, well, we're not meeting. Just a little bit more. Okay. So let's have a little look. Let's see which one do we want to do. I'm thinking my initial thought was this one, because you kind of get more of the Santa in. You've got all of his head. I can just go a little above his head with it and get to the bottom of his jacket. Whereas this one, it cuts more of him off, I think. Yeah, I think I'll go with this one. So like I say, if you're like me, let me just pop that back on there. You probably have some of these lying around. If not, if you've got any frame dies, any kind of frame, anything like that, and you can pop those around it instead. If you haven't got any frame dies, what you could do instead is just mat and layer it. Maybe use a corner rounder punch. Maybe just keep it straight, whichever you feel like. Okay, so let's pop that onto there. And let's see how, I'm not sure which way up I want this to go, or whether I want it down the side. Right, okay, what I'm going to do is bring in, excuse me, moving things around, some green ribbon. This is quite a strong green. And it's kind of an emerald green, so it kind of does fit in quite well with that one. So let's just take a piece off there. Just going to cut a little slit in there, and hopefully that shouldn't unravel. And that's some new ribbon that I bought from where did I got that one? Oh, I think it came from Temu, that one. I do buy ribbon and gems quite often from Temu, sometimes tools as well, but I tend not to buy dies. I have got a few, I'm not going to lie, I have in the past, but more recently I did make a decision that I wasn't going to buy dies from Temu anymore or AliExpress, because I think they have copied them from somewhere. Even if I don't know where they've been copied from, I don't think it's fair on the people that have, you know, spent the time and effort in creating them. And actually, I think if everybody went to China and bought the things from there, then we would not have these wonderfully talented people creating these things for us. So I think like gems and ribbon, I think that's, you know, it's not a what I would call a creative product as such. It's just a product. Same with tools. Some tools I think are just a tool, not necessarily a specialised tool. If it was a specialised tool, then obviously I would then buy that from the manufacturer rather than, or not the manufacturer, the creator. I think it's quite an important thing to make a distinction that, you know, we have to protect our creative people, otherwise we're going to lose them, because, you know, they're not going to carry on creating. Well, they won't be able to, will they? Because, you know, at the end of the day, we've all got to live. Alright, so I'm just going around the outside and I'm just going underneath, so I'm hoping I can just go across on some of them, and it's, you know, it's going to be covered up, going to be on foam pads, so nobody's going to see any of this behind, so we can be as messy as we like. Looks like a mess on the back, but nobody's going to see that. That is my little Santa, and he's going to go on there. I can see a little bit of red there. Okay. I think what he needs is something to make him stand out a little bit. Let me just have a look through these other papers and see what we have got. Maybe a little bit of this dark green. Don't think the blue will go. That's going to be a little bit too light, I think. Let's just check them all. Sorry. No, it's going to have to be this one. So what I'm going to do is just make the tiniest little mat. So this paper usually cuts really well on my trimmer. So let's have a little look. What is this in size? So we're looking at around about 4 and 2. So if I go to 4 and a quarter. Let's see what that's like. Probably should have looked at the underside before I started cutting into it to make sure I'm not cutting anything off that I want. Okay, I think that's okay. So 4 and a quarter. Like I said, I just want that hint of a darker colour just to pull it away from that. Okay, and then if I grab, I've got a scrap of gold here, I know I have, because I was playing with that earlier. There we are. So this is gold mirror card that was in the A4 size. So, and I'm just going to take this another 2 notches over, so it's 2 notches under a 4.5. Let's see, that should fit on to there quite nicely. And it does. And then what I'm going to do, just to soften those edges, because we've got the lovely rounded edges on there, and I'm going to bring in my little tiny corner punch. This is the Hunkydory one. and it is my favourite one. And I think if you use the embossing folder on that piece there, I think it would help pull the image away from the actual background. So I think with this kit I found a lot of them are very similar colours to the background. And because this is paper, I'm not going to use my tacky glue. I'm just going to use the little dotty tape pen on those corners. Oops. Just to glue on my hands, just to hold that in place while the glue goes off. It smooths down. And I don't use the tacky glue just purely because of that water content. So let's see, they are going that way up. Yeah, I think that's better. But I have got another little piece there of red that I can see. And another bit there. So obviously I'm rushing this, so you'll have more time to just think about how you want that to be done. And I think I'm going to bring that right over, that right to there, and then if I bring that original piece back in, we can grab, I think, Glad Tidings. If I move that up a little bit. I think so. Yeah, I think that will do us. And there may be a little ribbon on the top there. Okay, so now we've got our layout set. So this one I'm going flat with because it's really only to showcase our topper. So the cardstock on the back, so we can go in with our normal glues. Just making sure I've got those the right way up. And bringing that up there. So that's nice and straight. Yeah. And then this topper itself, I think I'll come in with these Hunkydory 2mm ones. So we'll give it a nice bit of a pop. Buried my scissors again. And put plenty on because that is paper and that is going to need the support. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and mat this onto another piece of card to give it a bit more strength if you wanted to, but I mean it will hold, don't get me wrong, just make sure that you put a nice amount of foam pads on there to support it. Otherwise, if it goes through the post or if it gets squashed in a bag, there is that chance it may cave in a little bit and you might lose that first impression of a beautifully crafted card. There we go, Santa. Let's pop you in, and I'm going to move you over just a little bit. I want you to be sort of escaping from your mat. And then the sentiment, there it is, hiding on the card. And go with this 2mm as well. I might as well stay with the same for this. And a little bit of tacky glue just to give us that wiggle room time. And there. Then I bring in my little bow maker. Bring back a piece of my green, emerald green. It's beautiful green, this. I mean, I've got other greens. I've got Christmas green, but this is a beautiful emerald green. Oh, there goes Henry. There's your bark for today. It's been really quiet the last couple of days. He finds it hard when it's warmer because of his, you know, obviously the pollen and everything, the allergies. And I don't know if any of you guys out there have got a dog with allergies, but he becomes quite lethargic. He's never been, you know, like even as a puppy, he wouldn't play for hours and hours. He's always very sleepy. So I'm just popping a little bit of that tacky glue there. I'm just going to bring those legs down so I can put my knot right in the centre. And then I'm going to use my reverse tweezers just in the middle of that knot to make sure those tails are where I want them to be. There we go. Otherwise, when it dries, tails will not be where you want them to be. And I think, shall we do gold? Shall we grab a shimmer gold? That might be nice for change. Oh, we have got those as well. They would be nice. Let's see which ones we fancy today. Okay, so those would get a little bit lost. I think it's going to be these green ones, especially these darker ones. Okay, where is my knife? So let's grab the sticky as well. So I'm going to go 1, 2 and 3. Come on now, let's go in a nice line. And then I'm going to do, no, not that one because I don't want to play the game. There we go. 1, and we'll have one of these little lonely ones on its own. And 2 on there. And that is going to finish that card up. So I have got the inserts printed out from downloading them on from the Hunkydory website, so it's really easy to do. And the other thing that's there as well for this magazine, and even if you haven't got the magazine, you still are able to download them for free. There are some little backgrounds, like little settings, like little fireplace, that sort of thing, little trees. So if you've got any stamps, maybe you've got some of those holly jolly little characters left over from last year, you know, any sort of Christmassy characters that you're looking for a background for, those papers are free on Hunkydory, so it's worth having a little look. Okay, so let me bring these cards back in. Obviously this is the one that you've just seen me make on the video. This glitter is now dry. So you can see there's just that little bit of elevated sparkle to it, which is quite nice, and you can sort of feel it there, but obviously it's not going to come off. And then that's the card where the video didn't work. So that is a 7x5, just a normal little 10-fold card, all of them. Like I said, I was going to do it really easy today. So next time when I come back, it is still going to be with this magazine 78. I'm going to see if I can find another template, see if we can mix it up again with something else, but it depends on what I can find. Let's see what is out there. Maybe when I come back we can have a play with something a little bit different and bring a new angle to this kit. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye.